What's so unique and different from a guitar and a fiddle? So if you started strumming a guitar, because that's usually what kids do, they pick up a guitar, got one for their birthday or something. What's the difference?
Huge difference.
Explain it to the layman.
One of the main things is a guitar has frets, and it gives you a place to put your fingers to make the note that you desire to make. And if a guitar is in tune, you put your finger, on the third string at the third fret. It's going to be the same every time. Fiddle doesn't have any. Its neck is only about 10% as long as a fiddle, or 20% anyway, and there's no frets on it. And it's strictly, you have to have an ear and a feel for that fiddle. And you don't pluck the string. It's
like a violin, right?
You push that bow across. Yeah, same instrument.
It's a brother and sister.
Exact same instrument.
It's exactly the same.
Yes. It's how you play it.
A bluegrass musician just plays it
Well,
different.
I've also heard a violin has strings, a fiddle has strings.
There's the difference, right?
Stylistically, that's the only difference in a fiddle and a violin. Now, a fiddle player is often will play two strings at once. A violinist principally plays one string at a time. There's all kinds of little technical things like that, but the instruments are the same.
Can you get away with a lot when you're playing two strings versus one?
No,
it's harder.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you note two strings at once, both notes have to be exact, or it's sour.
Oof. Okay.
So
there's some skill going on when you hear the fiddle players just going off.
Oh, I'm amazed. I'm amazed at great fiddle players, and I've been blessed to be friends and work beside some great fiddle players, and the fiddle really blows my mind. I started learning to play the guitar as a kid, was a decent rhythm guitar player to follow my dad on fiddle tunes by the time I was 10 or 12 years old. Became infatuated with the banjo when I was about 13. I went head over heels with playing the five-string banjo in the style of Earl Scruggs. And
where'd the banjo come from? Some shack on a hill in eastern Kentucky?
No, Africa.
That's where the banjo came from.
Yeah, and a rudimentary African instrument, I think, called the banjar, wound up in North America, unfortunately, with the slave trade.
Yeah.
And was principally, I think, a four-string instrument for quite a while.
It became five.
But it was played a lot,
What did that fifth string do? What was the addition to the fifth string?
A drone, pretty much a drone. It's not noted nearly as often as the other four strings are. It was added, I think, in the late 1800s. And still, there was five-string and four-string. The five-string did not develop commercially in a big way until the country music business of the 30s and 40s. And Scruggs was not the first, but he was the first to have the spotlight of the Grand Ole Opry and national radio and national recordings when he went to work for Bill Monroe at the end of 1945.
I was about to say Earl Scruggs or Bill Monroe.
Earl Scruggs went to work for Bill Monroe at the end of 1945, and he was heard on nationwide radio and nationwide recordings throughout 46, 47. And that changed everything about the banjo. The five-string banjo played in the three-finger style that he captured the world with is what we've all followed.
If we go into eastern Kentucky now, Menifee County, a lot of these other counties, Hazard, all these places, would we still feel a massive influence of a banjo and bluegrass and a fiddle?
No. No.
It all left.
It didn't necessarily all leave, but bluegrass has boomed where it's been broadcast and promoted. The Washington, D.C. area has a whole lot more bluegrass fans than eastern Kentucky. Southwestern Ohio has just as many or more bluegrass fans than eastern Kentucky. Plus, some of those areas in eastern Kentucky are still very impoverished, and they haven't accessed, what a whole lot of other cultures have really grasped onto.